Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope you're doing really well today. I'm coming on to tell you about the April 2022 comprehensive astrology picture that we will be painting all together, I suppose, in April. I'm so happy to be coming on to you and talking about this month because it certainly is the most strong and overpowering, kind of overwhelming situations that I've seen astrologically this year. It may very well be one of the most important months of the year. I see that we are having some transits that are very rare and very wild. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about in this video. I can't wait to tell you about some of the intuitive messages that I'm getting, as well as the astrology. And this month I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm actually going to tell you about the astrology first, and then I will kind of give you some intuitive full picture messages. It should all be designated below in the video chapters. And also I would like to invite you over to my Patreon page where you can get the April 2022 general readings early and ad-free. Also, I do weekly tea chats, which are only available over there, and a monthly benevolent stream as well. There are many options for you to check out with the different tiers. And it's a great way to support this channel. If you haven't checked out the Patreon page yet, do check it out. I will link it below and as a pinned comment in the comment section. Okay, everyone, let's talk about one of the most important months of the year 2022, April. Okay, astrologically, we have quite a few huge things. So just speaking chronologically here, we have the T-square between the Nodes and Saturn, North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, Saturn in Aquarius, which will be moving to be exact on April 4th, right at the beginning of the month. We have this month also the first exact Jupiter Neptune conjunction in Pisces. That's starting on April the 8th. We have also a Pisces stellium consisting of Moon, Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, and the asteroid Nessus. And we also have a Taurus stellium towards the end of the month consisting of Sun, Moon, Uranus, and North Node. We will also be ending the month with a solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse on April 30th, and we will be having all planets direct all the way through April 29th, which will end with Pluto retrograde commencing on April 29th. Oh my gosh, imagine all of that stuff happening in 1 month. That's like a year's worth of transits all condensing into 1 month. It's really crazy. What does it mean? Well, let's go through bit by bit there and break some of that stuff down, and then I will give you guys some intuitive messages about the entire sort of macro implications. But yeah, I talked a little bit in previous videos about this oncoming T-square between the Nodes and Saturn, so that will be hitting pretty exact by April 4th. It's frustrating, okay? There's a frustration within the structures that we've built and kind of this looming like inaction or looming kind of like, does my previous actions or do my previous built structures contribute to what I want to see for myself in the long term? Basically, we have a huge battle or conflict between short-term gain and long-term gain coming up right in the beginning of the month. And I would say that this has been building ever since 2020, certainly ever since February of 2022 when we had the nodes, moving into this new nodal paradigm, which I have a video about. I'll link that below and in the top right-hand corner. And this is going to start to get stuff right for us if we let it, okay? We can start to get really good feelings about what is and is not right for us. Basically, really pay attention to what you are frustrated about. Really pay attention to what you can't get off of your mind. What is kind of like this nagging, like imperfect feeling of problem. And if you're feeling that, I kind of have to tell you that it seems very positive, okay? It's like, it's just kind of telling you because it wants you to make a change, or it wants you either to make a change or to understand how it works, or how these structures or how these choices that you feel conflicted about do actually work or are actually okay. For some of us, we might actually see a good resolution or a good buildup of a future resolution relating to long-running, kind of frustrating, unsolvable quandaries. Those have been very present for us, ever since 2020. A lot of us just don't really know the answer. We have things happening in the world that are not precedented. So with that, we all kind of just do our best, or we take it day by day, and it's not going to be a perfect situation. I think that the perfectionists really struggle this month. okay? I think that those who demand too much of themselves or demand too much of other people are set up to really perhaps have a dark night of the soul this month, because that T-square from the nodes to Saturn, it says to me also that we are maybe building an entire web or an entire experience that just isn't really compatible with what we really want. And we need to see that in April if that's what we're doing. For some of us, we can't change it though, because that's the thing about having Saturn as the sort of linchpin of this T-square. The thing about that is that it might not be something we can change today. It might not be something we can change tomorrow, but we might want to know if we do want to change it. And we might want to start making timelines or planning really clearly about the changes that we haven't yet made, though we want to make. Also, really watch out for wear and tear and try to take things methodically. I feel that this T-square can be kind of like stress injuries, or it can be like pushing too hard too much every day. So if you're an ambitious person, watch out with this transit. You can trip up a little bit by overdoing yourself, or by trying too hard, or by thinking that effort is the only thing that leads to progress. Certainly we need effort to have healthy progress, but sometimes healthy progress is also about resting into the change, or kind of allowing also the universe or God to work with you, and not maybe to a degree usurping that power. So we might want to watch out for that as well. I see people with God complexes with this transit, and I think there are a lot of people like that right now. I think it's very easy to have a God complex during this time. So I would definitely recommend that for anybody who is feeling a large degree of, unknowing, blindness, even like feeling blind to what you're doing, or even feeling like you with your own effort are going to be the one to change something for a bunch of different people or something. That does happen. People do that. There have certainly been people in history and currently who are doing that, but it's a dangerous place to be, and it's a place that you want to arrive at as easily as possible, or with as much universal support as possible. So that should be a good message for a lot of you, where I'm kind of telling you, you can take it easier. You don't have to hurt yourself in order to get ahead. All right. What you can do is you can be more methodical and really build up your endurance, build up your muscle, build up your conditioning to be more viable in your place. That's wonderful. But we need to be able to distinguish between that and really pushing yourself way too hard in an unhealthy way. That is something that by April 1st, okay, I hope that you're in a place where you're planning and you're creative and adaptable and movable enough in your experience to not find yourself for pretty much the rest of the year, actually, I gotta tell you all, in a place where you're having to pull all-nighters, where you're having to force yourself to do things that you couldn't usually do, where you're having to push too hard, because this T-square between Saturn and the nodes tempts us. It's just pull that all-nighter, just work more, just do whatever it takes, okay? And I do think that there are times in people's lives where that is necessary, but I feel that at this time, for most people, that is an illusion to a degree, or that is going to create wear and tear, or it's going to damage us in a way where we can't actually step up like we need to in the future. So it's just kind of maybe an opportunity to actually do a bit less, or to at least do it a bit more methodically. Also, you could see that your real tangible life, Saturn stuff, your house, your location, your job, your career, your income, things like that, could be clashing with your destiny, or what you feel you're meant to do, or also what you feel your ancestors have done. You could kind of be out of context with your ancestral bloodline, in which case we have a lot of new stuff to learn. So hopefully we can enjoy that and not have to feel like we have to be the master of everything. Okay, moving on. First exact Jupiter Neptune conjunction on April 8th. Wow. I'm just writing down a timestamp here. First exact Jupiter Neptune conjunction. This is crazy. This is not anything we've seen in a long time, because we've been in this hyper realistic, hyper reality focused Capricorn paradigm when we went through 2020 with the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, still having Pluto there, Pluto about to go retrograde later this month in Capricorn. We have new dreams, okay? We have good dreams. We have the dreams that matter here. We know what it means to self-actualize, perhaps. The Jupiter Neptune is not all bad. I mean, I'm sure that many astrologers are talking about the negatives of it, and there certainly are negatives of it. I'm sure that they have a lot of merit in what they're saying, and I can talk about some of the potential negatives there as well. But I'll talk about the positives first. This is a very good ability that you might have during this time to see through the veil, to see through to what your soul actually wants, to also really see what is not so good for it, or to see what you're doing that doesn't really work or resonate with it anymore. We have Jupiter, which is the planet of good luck. It's the planet of what we're naturally good at, what we're naturally capable with. It rules over higher learning, academia, law, legalities, philosophy. And it's in its traditional ruled sign of Pisces. Before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter had rulership over Pisces. So it's at home, traditionally. And Neptune is also at home. So this is like a homecoming to our dream. This is like coming back to a dream. This is like returning to a project. This is like also having good luck in following the dream, or in spending time understanding how things could be. Okay, so it's beautiful to do that here. I mean, I think a lot of people in April 2022 are going to know what they want to do with themselves. I think that a lot of people are going to start dreaming a new dream. And how beautiful is that? Where it's difficult is becoming out of touch with your current reality. How do you then face what you have currently if it's very different from what you want in the future? Do you wind that down? Do you start to condense that? And then what does that mean for the real implications of your life? If you have a job and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it can be hard to, take 6 months to change, but maybe we need to do that in the future if we're not feeling super connected to where we're at. But that's where all of those messages that I've been telling you guys about for, this nodal paradigm 2022 and 2023 about cutting back, saving more, surplus, it's all tied into this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, so that we really have a chance to follow our heart and follow our souls with what we want to do. And it really does demand that. It's not really going to settle for just letting it be a dream. Okay. Another possibility, difficult possibility, is mental health issues. Okay. As I always say, I don't have the authority to talk about that in my capacity here on this channel, but I can speak as a person. I can speak as, from my own personal perspective. I think that we want to really keep an eye on our emotional health, on our mental health. Don't be afraid to seek out those conventional methods to really make progress there. And I would also say that there can be a frustration, with combining these T-square and this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. It's like, I know what I want to do now, but the real world won't permit me. Or like, I don't have the money to do it. I don't have the funding. I don't have the... I didn't make the choices before that make this make sense. And that becomes a really difficult juxtaposition that we can find ourselves in, where we're like, I know what I want, but I don't feel like it's possible for me. That's also an illusion. That's an illusion as well. Contrarily, I was going to say controversially, but that might also be a good word here too. It can be the other way around too. It can be like not taking into account the finances, not taking into account the past relevance to your dream, and then not really applying it, and perhaps not also getting the benefits of applying that well. So those who will do well now in relationship to these dreams and these transitions into better fields, better careers, more sensible, more soul-oriented projects, those will be the people who can apply where they've previously been, fund it well, or kind of maybe have been responsible for a long time, and be able to really mix it, or bring this all together in a way that makes sense. That's about the only way that we can see a change that makes sense here. Okay, also we have these Pisces stelliums and Taurus stelliums that I mentioned a second ago. It just means that we are further energized in those dreams with the Pisces stellium, being that it's a Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, and asteroid of Nessus. It's like all across the board. It's new dreams for every category. It's new dreams for love relationships. It's new dreams for activity and self-actualization with Mars. It's new dreams for art with Neptune and creation. And then with Jupiter, it's new dreams for expanding and broadening your horizons. With the asteroid Nessus there, which has been playing a lot of interesting transitory roles recently, this can also be avenging yourself. I've talked a little bit about that. Like, you might really be wanting to pick up the pieces of your life or avenge who you once were. And you want to make sure that you keep it personal, or you keep it really about what you have the power over. Again, Nessus is like the archetype of revenge as well, or some type of venging, or it can also be wrathful or vengeful. But it can also make things right as well, or it can crave to bring justice to an unjust situation. And I think that it channels at the self level. I'm not seeing this as people trying to come after others. It doesn't really work well that way because of it being in Pisces, and it can be a bit of a crazy energy. It's like, people can lose control with the Nessus asteroid, and I don't really love seeing it involved in this, because it says to me that some of our motives, or some of our momentum in making some of these changes or dreaming some of these dreams might not really be about us. It might be about another person's contributions, or how we were hurt or damaged by another person. So that's an important thing to start healing during this time too, is like the motivation that you have that was not your own, but it was like created by a trauma or created by something else. We have to really empower ourselves by allowing trauma to motivate what is truly ours, and not feel that we need to create something that isn't ours to grow through trauma, okay? We have this Taurus stellium as well, Sun, Moon, Uranus, North Node. Currency changes, inflation. I would predict new levels of inflation this month. I would predict also people finding new ways to purchase things. This could even be like the emergence of like new markets, or even, with the North Node there, it could be kind of not above board markets, or it could also be like people really making new cultures about saving. This could even cause a recession. This could be like people really stopping spending in certain places and innovating new ways to meet their needs that don't involve consumerist tactics. So I do think that a recession could be catalyzed through what happens this month, and that might not even hit until like the next equinox, so like September, because it's going to take time for that to really register in the markets. But I mean, it could be quicker. But I do see that people are spending less, okay, because of the inflation, so that could cause a recession. And it's also a big identity shift as well. It's like a big status-induced identity shift. Like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to project to the world? Sun, Moon, Uranus, North Node conjunction, or being in the same sign, certainly, is who am I going to be? Who do people see me becoming? Who do I, with Sun, Uranus especially, like what changes am I making to who I am and stuff like that. All planets direct, ending April 29th. Okay. We have had almost 3 months, you all. And if you're getting this video before April, you've got a full month, okay, a full another 30 days to really be adjusting to the changes that have already happened, all right? And I would probably tell you all that even by the time of April 4th, once we get these T-squares going that I was talking about in the beginning, we need to not feel like we got to make huge changes after that point in time. They might happen by themselves, they might generate themselves, but you want to almost see like the real initiated, authorized changes that you're making with your own conscious effort to kind of precede or predate some of these T-squares, or from the node Saturn T-square happening on April 4th. What you will probably see is that in this last chapter of All Planets Direct, from around April 1st to April 29th, this is going to be like the alchemy or the results of the changes that you already made. And it's going to be very giving and rewarding for those of you who in February and March have been able to quit things, to stop addictions, to just leave it behind. This last Pisces season was such an opportune period to just let it wash through you, or let yourself be cleansed of previous nasty habits or anything like that, or even like bad money spending habits, negative symbolisms as well, so like or negative mantras where it's like I can buy whatever I want because like I create my situation, or I am like kind of omnipotent or something, so I can like spend all the money I want. I can do whatever I want every single day. That, ever since we changed nodal paradigms, has gone away. And now we really do have to be self-restricted and self-governed. Otherwise, someone else is going to come in and do that for us. So this is a really great period of time over the rest of this all planets direct to get yourself together and to impose new limits on yourself. Sometimes it's nice. It's not about self-admonishment. It's not about hyper-frugality that is injurious to our experience, but it is about understanding how much more we can have through cutting back, and how nice it can feel to not be so reliant on like a consumerism or paychecks even from companies that we don't agree with in order to live. Okay, this is about taking our living back into our own hands here. That's what I feel that this all planets direct period from February to April of 2022 was about. It was about taking our lives back into our own hands. And no one can do that perfectly. Like, no one has total control over themselves, but there's definitely a sliding scale there of how much we have or how little we have. And hopefully you've been able to give yourself more warranty over your own experience. And yes, in incredible astrological fashion, you guys are always, I'm saying on my channel over and over and over again, the heavens are perfect. It's a perfect math. It always works with the most incredible synergy and sense. We have an eclipse, a partial solar eclipse on April 30th, right after the end of this all planets direct period. We have a solar eclipse, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. I will make a specific video about it when the time comes. So our chapters change. The chapter that we are writing is coming to an end, okay, with this ending all planets direct. And we find ourselves moving into May of 2022, starting a new chapter. And having finished some type of gauntlet, I will tell you on. It might kind of stretch out for some people even into like late May or early June, but for most people by May, sometime in May, they're finishing a chapter, and they're having finished one of the most difficult chapters perhaps of their experience. So I see an unwinding, or I see even an epilogue for some people, and even like the starting of a new book, I suppose, if we're getting very, hyperbolic here. We might even be starting a new book or starting a sequel soon, and that might even stretch out into the next few years. But one way or another, there's a big end, or there's a big, like for the final time, I've done something here, and we move into this next retrograde period. And I actually want to find for you all, I'm going to pause my video, when the next all planets direct phase will be. That might be a really nice bit of information to have. Okay, I've just studied into the future quite a ways, and that will be January 23rd, 2023. Next time we have all planets direct. So we will have about, I suppose, 9 or 10 months of retrograde motion. And it's going to be a different kind of retrograde period because we've had this super long all planets direct motion this year. So these retrogrades will be testing in the sense like, can we keep up what we've instituted? And is it long lasting, or was it like a sort of fad momentary implementation? Can we keep it up? And can we also use this oncoming retrograde period that we're going through from May 2022 until January 2023 to really see what's relevant for ourselves? I think the relevance is going to really be coming up over that time, and finishing a long running project for a lot of people as well. And it seems that this previous APDM that we've been going through from February until April of 2022 really is where that progress happened and where we did it or didn't do it. Okay. So that's good to know going into April, because we still have a month, right? We're not out of the woods yet. We're not through that time yet. So I feel a lot of us maybe being like, wow, because we're so accustomed to all planets direct being a bit shorter, being like a month or month and a half. So we feel as if we've already come through it. We haven't come through it yet. Okay. Moving into this month of April, we still have almost a full month of it. So there's still going to be some new stuff. There's still going to be some push and some cardinal motion, okay? And I want you guys to know that, and I want you guys to prepare for that. I want you to prepare to be methodical. I want you to prepare to be capable and ready to, hit the ground running, ready to move through some of these challenges, and for some people, gauntlets as well as the better word. And this is really, I suppose, to be very cliche here, this is kind of like the diamond creating pressure. You know, it's like this is pressure here. This is hard stuff for some people. It's not easy. It's really demanding that we be masterful in our own manifestational choices and in our own follow through. All right. And that's really the main intuitive message that I would tell you all for this time, is that it requires a degree of mastery. It requires also a distancing of oneself from the short term and a looking into the long term, and also seeing previous fears or previous difficulties as meaningless or as the mind games or mind mazes that they are. Here, during this time, during the month of April, the main intuitive message that I'm feeling is that we need to fly above the maze, okay? We don't need to just be like mice going through the maze here. We need to more so be in the eagle archetype, and we need to raise up and fly over instead of making this stuff hard. So if we complicate our situation, which I think a lot of people are just dealing with their own self-imposed complications here if they're having a hard time, if we make it harder than it has to be, if we make it more complex, to me it looks like we can either be like a mouse going through the maze, or we can just kind of fly over it and go from point A to point B here. So it requires rising. It requires more altitude, perhaps. It requires more, or I would say it requires less ground focus and more air focus, right? We'll be moving towards Gemini season, and we will be ending the all planets direct in Taurus season, but those first retrogrades will hit us, moving from Taurus to Gemini. And that's going to be interesting, Gemini season later this year with Saturn still in Aquarius. And we are going to really be able to just kind of fly over some of these previous things that used to be hard. And we're not going to have this difficulty anymore, really. So some of these difficulties are just going to dissipate if we can get ourselves out of the maze, if we can simplify stuff well. Any notes that I would give you all briefly here just on the Taurus season component of April is there's likely to be like a money focus or some type of like career or business type of aspect to what you're going through as well. And I would, again, just try to simplify this stuff. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. I wouldn't lose sleep over it. Money could be tight for everyone, regardless of how big of an earner you are. Okay, this inflation, and especially if we're tied into consumerism or we have way too high of living expenses, it's going to be hard. And it's likely going to, for some people, create deficit, or they have to fix that, or they have to change their lifestyle in some way to overcome that. And that's more of just a macroeconomic condition than it is like a personal flaw. And try to understand that, and understanding that these new cultures also that are less consumerist and less about giving our lives to a salary or something are really cool. That's going to be something that really helps us as well to overcome some of these consumerist ways. And just looking to maybe create a new category of spending that is maybe connected to important contributive expenses, and kind of overcoming frivolous expenses would be wonderful to work with this energy better and to have more for yourself, for the stuff that matters in your life. And, doing things that matter, getting real. North Node in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, there could be something really unreal. Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces. That's the biggest threat of this time, is like unrealistic lifestyles or playing games with a certain like life force energy, trickiness, trickster energy could definitely be up and about this month. But being that it's Jupiter and Neptune, again, home sign of Pisces, I feel that we have to agree to it, or it's almost like a more of a comedic or, not such a painful or worrisome experience of trickster energy, but it's definitely there. And we have to know in our lives who are real and who is, not playing us, okay, or not playing games with us. And if we're playing games, it would be nice for that to be like video games or something that portrays itself as a game, instead of bringing that into the real world and losing track of our own physics. Okay, that seems important during this time. And I would definitely beware of any type of schemes or any type of get-rich-quick schemes. I feel like those will be really prevalent too during Taurus season with the Sun, North Node, Uranus in Taurus. Or also desperate moves to like change your wealth or change your money into a different currency or into a different concentration. And that could work for some people, but it could also create losses. So that's the thing. We can't really know the result with it being so Piscean, with it being so Jupiter Neptune. For some people, they might get rich quick, sure. But at what cost? At what cost? I would hesitate with anything like that. And my final message for you all for this month is like, this is where you are really making huge progress in your life path, in your progress as a human being, okay? Depending on what you want to see there, you might and might not like focus everything into like cryptocurrency or focus everything into like, I don't know, losing 10 pounds or focus into these like small stupid things, all right? Not that either of those things are stupid, but are they what your life path is about? Is cryptocurrency what your life is about? Is a certain waist size what your life is about? Is a certain like social media following what your life is living for? Okay, we have to kind of understand that we might be being small with certain, sort of manic life contributions. And we need to really zoom out and rise above some of these mazes and do the stuff that matters. Okay, so I'm going to leave you all on that note. It's a beautiful, life-changing month for a lot of people. Probably, I looked at the entire year when I did the 2022 year ahead forecast, which I should probably also link below and in the top right-hand corner for you all. And April was definitely sticking out to me as definitely one of the most sizable transit months. There's going to be some other big ones this year, but it's a really defining time given the all planets direct status that is here in the eclipses and the, Jupiter Neptune conjunction, this T-square, these stelliums. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal for our life trajectory. So keep it in mind. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button below to get it out there. Share it with someone that you love and comment below and let me know how you enjoyed the video. Does it resonate for you? Do you feel, some of these similar themes coming up in your own experience? And check out my Patreon page linked below if you want to support this channel and get some premium content. That is the way that this channel is possible. Thank you so much to all of you who are on Patreon and are supporting this channel. I so appreciate that. It's, again, it's facilitating this content. It keeps it independent. It keeps it the way it is. So thank you all so much. And I try to provide a lot of perks and benefits to those people over there. So come and check it out. I do tea chats every week. I do the general readings early and free of ads. Okay, the general readings have no ads on Patreon, so that's a nice little perk as well. Okay, so have a great April, everyone. I'm wishing you luck and enjoy it. Much love. Bye.